Starting the recording now. Good afternoon all. Welcome to this afternoon's meeting of the Welsh Church Act Estate Committee of the 11th of September 2023. My name's Amy Rudman and I'm the Democratic and Scrutiny Services Officer supporting the meeting today. On behalf of the Chair, may I remind everyone present that the meeting is being live streamed as well as recorded via the internet, and that this recording is archived for future viewing. Could all participants please mute themselves when not speaking in order to avoid any background noise or feedback when other participants are speaking. If a participant wishes to speak, can they please put their hand up by using the Microsoft Teams raise hand function. If a participant raises their hand via this function and is not subsequently invited to speak by the Chair, please could they turn their camera on to indicate or place a message in the chat function. When invited to address by the Chair, please could all participants ensure that their microphone and camera is on to ensure that they can be seen and heard when actively participating. If this is not possible for any reason, please bring this to the attention of the Chair, Councillor Wilson, or myself as soon as possible. Please ensure that all debate is raised verbally and not via the chat function for the sake of the recording. The chat function may be used to highlight any technical issues and/or to grab the attention of Councillor Wilson or myself. If any participant has difficulty hearing or being heard when they are addressing the committee, then please could you let the Chair or myself know as soon as possible. Thank you, Chair. That concludes the housekeeping.
And thank you very much, Amy, for that. And first item under part one is any apologies for absence. Do we have any?
It's a full committee, Chair.
Fantastic. All right, then. Second item on the agenda, the minutes of the meeting held. Are you happy for me to agree that to be a true record on the 19th of June 2023?
Yes, I'll second that.
Thank you very much. And everyone is in agreement. Excellent. Number 3 now, do we have any declarations of interest? I don't appear as though there's any here. Thank you very much. Now we go on to report of the Director of Corporate Resources. And I think, Gemma, you're taking it on behalf of the Director. Are you?
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
Thank you very much. As application financial assistance, over to you, Gemma.
Okay, thank you very much. So good afternoon. This is the second tranche of applications for financial assistance for 23-24. So we earlier in the year made an allocation of just over £10,000, and we've received a further 4 applications that we're now recommending to committee for approval, and they're set out in Appendix A of this report. And the recommended amount totals £13,812.55. That does still leave us quite a significant sum to be allocated in the year, because we've got a total grant sum of £69,000. So we've got a remaining sum of £45,000 to be allocated in the year, and that's set out in Appendix C to the report. Within the Appendix A, it does point out 2 of the applications that we're requesting to award in principle pending the outcome of other grant applications. That's St Peter's Church Dinas Powys and the Cardiff Lions RSC LGBT+. Happy to take any questions on the applications or the report.
Okay, thank you very much, Gemma. What I'm going to do, if the committee is in agreement, if we could take them all one by one, is that okay? Yeah. Okay, the first one is Penlyn Church. Additional works following fire damage in the autumn of 2022, covered by insurance. Amount requested is £5,000. Are we happy to approve £5,000? Anyone dissenting? No. No one dissenting. Excellent. Okay, happy to approve that. Second one is St Peter's Church. Okay, and that's vestry and investigate repairs, allowing a great understanding of construction and labour work. We plan to widen the roof structure, which is nearing the end of its life. Repairs to coping stones and chimney stacks for important other miscellaneous stonework, rainwater goods, and repairs and east wind Tracy repairs, remove and replace snowboards and replaced to saddle bars and blown stonework caused by rust and ironwork and window surrounds, and it's recommended for £5,000. All happy to agree with that? Yep.
For the award, yeah, Chair.
Okay, so that's what we've done so far. I mean, obviously we can review this if you want to later on, but I think keep to 5,000 sounds a bit reasonable to me. And also I think it's quite important that, you know, they do seek other sources of finance as well, not just on us. Okay, but I'll take your point. All right, so moving on, we're happy with that. And the next one, okay, is creating a space for communities and Clonedin, Pentrine and Pontprenai. Funds request installation of high definition CCTV to combat antisocial behaviour. The new system will be connected to the site's internet connection now areas outside the buildings, using a variety of connected devices. In total, 6 cameras will be installed covering our front entrance benches areas, front driveway, and this is where the majority of antisocial behaviour recommended by Cardiff Council. We're happy to approve 1,978. Yeah, is that yes?
Yeah.
Good. Okay. Wonderful. And the next one is the essential bus transport system. Funding sought to facilitate Cardiff Lions rugby football club LGBT members to attend rugby matches across different locations. The project aims to ensure equal access and active participation for diverse team members regarding individual transport limitations. Interesting one, this one there. The project aims, so by providing suitable, reliable transportation, the organisation aims to eliminate the barriers that some members face in reaching away matches, fostering engagement and camaraderie in the team. The project aligns with the organisation's commitment to promote diversity and acceptance in sports, resulting in a more cohesive and empowered rugby team that its produces best on and off the field. Okay. I was going to ask a question on this, but I'll wait to other members and see what other members feel about this application, because I'm going to ask 1 or 2 questions on this.
I have no issues with it at all. These people need to be protected.
Okay. Yeah. Michael, do you want to ask a question at all? You're muted, Michael.
I'm just curious what I'm supportive of the nature of the application, but what is the money actually being spent on? Is this for hiring of coaches or what is it?
Apologies, Chair. Yes, I've just got the application form in front of me now. It is for hiring of buses, of coaches.
And
to transport.
I was going to ask the subsequent. Yeah, Michael, are you happy with that answer, or do you want to ask the supplementary?
To just supplement, I mean, it's for the rugby football club LGBT, but this include people with disabilities as well who can't access other transport. Is that the reason that it's done, or is it? I'm just curious because we don't see the full application.
No, absolutely. It doesn't specifically say that it would support any particular disabled groups. I think the purpose of the buses being hired is for the team to travel together as part of building camaraderie within the team to and from the matches. So that seems to be the purpose of the transport in this nature from the application form. Obviously, we would typically only fund kind of one-off or project-like costs. So I think it's really important that the team have a kind of more sustainable approach to providing this transport as well, and we can certainly seek some assurances around that as well. It does say that they're, as part of the buses, they're aiming to eliminate the barriers that some of our members face in reaching away matches and fostering their engagement. So I suppose it does enable the team to have a broader reach in terms of membership when travelling to away matches.
Yeah, it's awful that we have to do that. But they do go through a lot, unfortunately.
I was going to ask a question, because it's kind of revenue funding rather than capital funding. I'm a little bit concerned because it does feel as though it's almost like revenue funding rather than capital. Slight concern about that. I would have thought it'd be better, perhaps, this is my personal view, that we help fund the finance of a coach or something like that, perhaps, with a better source of our money, rather than fund a revenue stream. I mean, I'm not opposed to it. I just think it's an unusual application, in the sense that I would have thought it'd be better for their long-term sustainability if they could find a finance, and we can help them obviously towards it, for a coach trip, or to buy maybe a second-hand coach or whatever, or even to do some sort of long-term deal on a hire purchase, I don't know, arrangement. I that's why I'm a little bit concerned about financing something which seems a bit like revenue based rather than capital based. That's my point of principle. But I got two other speakers now before I let Gemma speak. So Janice, go in now.
Thank you, Mark. Yeah, my concern about this is, I mean, I do agree with Pam, but the same as you, it's dead money. If they're going to use this money for hiring coaches, then I think we really need to seek assurances that they are going to raise other monies and move forward to something that's more permanent.
Yeah, that's largely my view. Charles, do you want to come in?
My query is really to do with, it's recommended by Cardiff Council and it's Cardiff Lane. Do people know where Cardiff Lane RFC is? And why has it come to the Vale?
Is it Cardiff Lions?
Chair, just to clarify.
I know I can answer that, but I'd rather you answer that, Gemma. Go on.
So we manage the Welsh Church Acts on behalf of Cardiff and the Vale of Glamorgan, and so we receive grants that are being recommended via Cardiff Council to consider as well for funding.
Okay. I'm going to take some sort of middle view. Largely what Janice is saying, to be honest, is that my view is that we should recommend it, but I also think we should also look for assurances that are looking for capital finance. We're not opposed to them if they want to come back, say, in a year's time, to look at helping them with capital, perhaps, or any other organisation. But I do consider it to be a rather one-off thing. I do understand about barriers, and obviously, assisting them perhaps on a coach together will build up the confidence of supporters and players together. But I do think it's a largely one-off thing. Michael, do you want to come back, or is that a legacy hand?
So it is a legacy hand, but no, but I share that. I'd just like to know a little bit more about this, to be honest.
I mean, Gemma, do you want to find out a bit more, if possible? Maybe defer it, possibly.
Chair, happy to defer it, and certainly happy to go back and ask for a bit more information and run it past them. I mean, I certainly haven't asked the question, so I don't know for certain. But I mean, I wonder whether, from a value for money or environmental perspective, whether it would be efficient for them to have a dedicated source of transport that gets used relatively infrequently for the club. But I don't know how frequently they travel to away matches, so I can go back and gather a bit more information and certainly establish whether they've considered a more sustainable approach to providing transportation to the club. It certainly is a departure to our usual approach to funding. And where we do fund this type of funding, we would typically have looked for some reassurance around sustainability of the scheme, because I agree, otherwise it's a very temporary source of support for the club. So I can go back and seek those clarifications.
Okay, Charles, do you want to come back on this?
Yeah, if I can, I agree with what everyone said, to be honest. But when you say deferring and it's a rugby club, is it the start of their season now?
Oh, that's what
If
I
we
was
just-
thinking as well.
Yeah.
You know, so do we say we'll do this time? But with sort of in our response, we say this, you know, exactly what people have said. You need to come up with a better, because I think it'd be quite harsh to say sorry, no, because it's not the right thing.
I think you're right. I mean, it is a difficult one, Charles, and that's what my query was. The back of my head was that if it's this season, all right, which sounds as though it probably is, then really we don't want to delay it until November, and the season will start before then, as you and I know, and it's likely that it will affect them, and I don't really want to stop them doing things what they want to do. Have you got a timeline on this before I bring Janice in? I know you had. Have you got a timeline from them? How urgent is it for them? Do you know, Gemma?
Sorry, Chair, I'm just checking the application form to see if it's been confirmed in there. It isn't clear from the application form, but I suspect you are right. I suspect they would be looking for transport for the coming season.
Yeah.
Okay, Janice, do you want to come in now?
Yes, please. Thank you, Mark. I'd just like to know from them if they would very kindly get back to us anyway, whether they're pursuing other avenues to raise money to fund buying permanent bus or permanent transport in some way, so that they know, so that we know, because I believe you said, Gemma, that you weren't sure whether it was to buy something or whether it was just to use hiring of vehicles for that particular day.
It just says transport costs, so I believe it's hiring a vehicle, but again I will confirm and circulate something electronically to the committee if that's
probably
acceptable.
Edwards or somewhere like that. Well, I could understand that. Yeah, I can understand that.
Yeah.
Pam, do you want to come in?
Yes, buying transport is not easy, but it's the ongoing costs as well, insurance, maintenance, and everything. Whether they're able to come up to meet that. Renting is probably the best option at the moment.
Yeah, it could be. I'll tell you what. I got another proposal then. That perhaps what we could do is, we get some assurances from Gemma regarding the sustainability of this project, whether what the funding is actually really for, what they're thinking medium to long term about this. We also make the point that it's a one-off application. We won't do this, but I do think we need to think about sustain, and subject to all those assurances, then I think, and we get an emails, and you also get those emails back to the committee, subject to your issues. If there's no issues and we're happy, then you get the chair and the vice chair to approve it. Is that all right with everybody? Janice, do you want to come in? And Howard?
Go on, Janice.
I've been trying to hire a coach myself from Edwards recently, and the cheapest is 800. So for 5,000, they're not going to get many trips. So I really feel, as you said, Mark, that we should emphasise that they should be looking elsewhere as well as just coming to us.
Fine, thank you. I think that is helpful, Janice. Howard, did you want to come in as well?
Yeah, no, I agree wholeheartedly with your last proposal. And I'm also very mindful of the costs of purchasing transport and the running costs. And yeah, I'd be quite happy that we defer it for further information, and when it's forthcoming, it be circulated amongst the committee.
I think what I'd suggest is I will kind of defer it as such. I won't make a decision there and then, but I think I would like to do it fairly quickly. So
Yeah,
perhaps,
yeah.
Chairman, if you can come back in the next 2 weeks from them. If we don't get an answer in the next 2 weeks, then it can go to the next committee. You know, so give them a timeline of say 10 days to come back to us. I should imagine if it's mega urgent, I know, and then perhaps I know you want to come in, Amy. I'll let you come in a moment. Then perhaps we do need to think about it going to the next meeting if it doesn't come back. Amy, do you want to come in?
If that's okay, Chair. Thank you, committee. I just wanted to clarify, obviously, Councillor Charles just referred to the figure of 5,000, but that's not actually the amount claimed.
No, it's not. It's not.
So
it's a
just to make
amount.
that clear in terms of your decision as a committee.
Yeah.
Obviously, you have a recommendation which would be to, at the moment, from the consensus, it seems that you would be, the committee are happy to approve applications 1 to 3 as applied for in Appendix A. So that would be your first recommendation.
Yes.
But obviously for this matter, you'd need to have a second recommendation for the committee,
Yes.
which is that the committee is approving that application subject to further assurances being received and approved by the chair and vice chair of the committee.
Yeah.
So if you were to do that, obviously you wouldn't need to then need to wait until tranche 3, for example, to approve it. It could just be approved.
I think what I did say, just a bit more clarification, Amy, was that if they didn't come back, say within 10 working days, then obviously it's not considered to be urgent, and therefore perhaps it could be then looked at the next meeting, because my view is that we perhaps have more information then, and if it's not urgent, but I would think it probably is urgent, and I just think we just need to get on with it. That's my personal view, because it is a very precise figure, which does suggest that perhaps maybe they've got other sources of finance for this, because as you rightly said, Janice, £800 for a coach trip, and I know a football club, very famous football club, was telling me over the summer that they needed something like £60,000 for coach trips along for a whole season, and that was just to carry their team and a few supporters. So it does amount to, and that's a regional side. It's a very well known. It's Bishop Auckland I'm talking about. Very well known football team. But nevertheless, considering that, but I think you're right. Sustainability is what we need to look at here, and it is very much like a one-off application, I feel, and doesn't create any precedent. Are you happy for that?
So yes, if you're happy, obviously you would need a mover and seconder, Chair, but just writing, if you were, formulating the recommendation for you as you're discussing, my advice would be that your second recommendation is that the committee approve application 4 subject to further assurances being received within 10 working days and approval sought from the committee chair and vice chair. And then within the reason, for the reason recommendation, obviously it would explain that the committee wished to have further reassurances prior to final approval. And then it would also mention in there that obviously if it was not received within 10 working days, then the application would be deferred to the next tranche. But that would be my recommendation, Chair, but obviously it's up to yourself and all the committee to move and second.
Okay. I'm happy to move it.
Second.
Are you happy to second that, Janice?
Yeah.
Happy to everyone agree on that? Fine. We got some heads. Fine. Over to you now, Gemma, to the next item. I think next item is really a discussion about money, really. Go on. And what we got left.
Okay. So still part of this report, but just setting out the monitoring in year. So in terms of the 22-23 outturn position, that's been refined slightly as I was putting together the draft accounts. So it's very slightly amended from the figures that were brought before you as part of the first tranche, and then updated monitoring in year. So some very little expenditure that's hit the ledger so far this year, but we seem to be proceeding relatively well in terms of income so far, and of course we're projecting a drawdown from reserves. We have included a reserve projection for the year, looking at reserves reducing from 143,000 to 131,000. Okay.
Okay. So what you're saying, Gemma, is we've got quite a lot of spare money around.
We have, yeah.
I think we need to publicise it a bit more. We did have a kind of pre-discussion about this, Pam, didn't we?
Yes.
And what I did kind of say, make a suggestion, I don't know what the committee thinks, that perhaps we could discuss it. And I know that some of you are involved in churches all in different parts of Vale Glamorgan, as perhaps we could publicise it a bit ourselves, but also we could talk to our regular canteen networks, because I know there are various canteen networks in Barry, Penarth and the Western Vale that we could talk to. And I think it might be good, Gemma, that we could supply you perhaps with contact details. I know you probably have them as well, Janice, as well, in your work in churches. And perhaps maybe you can as well, others as well, because I do think that's important that we could share this. Because I do think it's the Welsh Church Acts Committee, and I'm not precluding other organisations from, but primarily it was set up because of this establishment, as you know. Gemma, do you want to come back?
Chair, just to say, I'll reach out to my colleague in Cardiff Council as well to ask if there's any publicity they can do on that side, just to make sure that it's fair across the two. Okay, thank you.
I think that's a good suggestion as well. Are you happy for us to do that?
Yes, I'd rather it go out to good causes than sit in the bank.
I agree, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely doing some good. Absolutely right, because there's enough buildings out there, I see, especially church buildings that do need funding for, you know, and if we can help in any sort of way, then that's all to the good. All right. Okay, Democratic, Amy, did you want to say anything?
Yes, thank you, Chair. Obviously, within your report this afternoon, you only have one formal recommendation set out for you. So in relation, obviously, we've now got two recommendations for Appendix A in your papers. Is there a formal recommendation the committee's making for Appendix C, or are you just happy to?
I think for Appendix C is that we need to make people, church organisations in particular, to make them very aware of the fund and the application process. And I think if we can send out maybe links or communications to them, and I think it's incumbent upon us as members to send out those details as well as some officers.
Okay, Chair. So just thinking off the top of my head then, with the recommendation, my recommendation to you for the wording of the recommendation is that further information and advertisement be sent to local church organisations to raise awareness of the fund. Is that correct? And obviously
local church organisations and umbrella organisations, because an awful lot of the time these canteen networks are what we call umbrella. They represent lots of different churches.
Okay. And obviously, I would tie in the same point.
Non-circular organisations, because not everyone, as you know, is Christian. So we're not precluding Hindus or Muslim temples or whatever, you know, and we're not precluding that at all. Okay.
Okay, and obviously your reason for would be to raise awareness.
Exactly.
Yeah, raise awareness and invite further applications.
Absolutely.
Okay, is the committee happy to formally move that and second, Chair?
I'm happy to formally move it. Pam, are you happy to second that?
I'll second that, definitely.
Thank you, and I think we all got an agreement there. Okay. Now, I don't think there's any other matters to discuss today. I think that is it. And can I thank you very much? Yes, Chair, go on, Charles.
Are we having any update on the fund move?
Gemma?
Yep, absolutely. Apologies, this is taking a lot longer than it should have taken. We are We're just going backwards and forwards a little on the background check that's been requested on trustees. So I've just one of the trustees just asked me to seek a bit more clarification about precisely why that background check is required. So I've been going backwards and forwards with CCLA just to get a little bit more information. So I think most of the trustees have kindly supplied me with their information. So I'm hoping just to get some extra clarification around the background check before we proceed.
Okay.
Okay, thank you for that. I don't think there's anything else. I haven't got anything under part 1. I got nothing under part 2. Can I thank you all? And remember, there's additional meeting that you've been communicated about. As you probably know, we've got an extraordinary meeting coming up. Okay, so I'll see you all. Take care.
All right, thank you, Chair.
Gemma, can I?
Thank you, Chair.
If you,
Yeah.
if
Thank you,
anyone
Chair.